he was generous, and God just couldn't bless him enough. But we see the opposite. We see with Lot, no emphasis on the altar in his life. He too, while growing rich, he had cattle and flocks and servants and all of that. In fact, he grew and prospered so much also that it soon became a source of conflict between him and Abram. Look with me in chapter 13. Verse 6 says this, "The land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together." They had so much stuff. They had so many cattle, their herds were so large, so many flocks, that actually they overcrowded and overgrazed the land where they were. It was just not big enough for the two of them. Conflict was inevitable. And what happens in the very next verse, verse 7, there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. There was a strife. They got argumentative. You know what happens? Oh boy. What happens when families collide? Now, I know nobody here has any personal experience about anything like that, but let me just tell you what happens sometimes, out there among other people when families collide, especially when it's over money, especially when it's over things, possessions, properties, lands, or whatever. You know what happens? War. War. War breaks out, harsh words are spoken. Sometimes there's a lot of anger, a lot of venom, a lot of resentment that's expressed. Some families fall out with each other. Some families will have strife and a dispute with each other, and they may not speak to each other for weeks or months or years. I've known of people where, because of a strife or a dispute over things, over possessions, over an inheritance or something, where they never spoke again to their own family member. They would never speak to him again. Because their feelings were hurt, they were offended, their family member took something that was willed to them or whatever. You know how those things can be. When it comes to money, when it comes to possessions, and there's strife between family members, it can mean all-out war. One time Jesus was speaking, and a man interrupted him and came up to him. Luke's Gospel, chapter 12, man came up to him and he said, "Lord," he said, "make my brother divide the inheritance with me." And Jesus said, "Man, who made me a divider or a judge over you?" He said, "You take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of things that he possesses." That was Jesus' words. He told him, "Make my brother divide the inheritance." He said, "I'll tell you what, you watch your heart and you guard against covetousness, because there's something inside of us that wants our share. We want what's ours. We want what is promised to us. We want what's mine. We want what belongs to us. And we have to be careful, because we can allow minor things become major problems. We can allow separations to occur in our family over things that in the big picture don't matter. You ever stood beside a coffin and watched a man crying because he hadn't spoken to his brother in 20 years? His brother had just died. He hadn't spoken to him in 20 years. Or see people who lose loved ones that they never did get to say to that loved one, "I'm sorry, what we argued about was stupid. It didn't amount to anything. I'm sorry." Abraham, of course, I keep calling him Abraham. He was Abraham, but back here, he's referred to as Abram. This is before God changed his name. But Abram was a wise man and a man of peace. He was a man of God. Lot was his family. Lot was his kin. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. This is the only family he had in this strange land where he was dwelling. And I want you to notice what he tells his brother in verse 8. I want you to listen to his words. We can learn from this. Abram said,
Hi, I'm Pastor Rusty Tardo, and I want to thank you for tuning in to our Faithful Word telecast today. It's my hope that the message has been a blessing and an encouragement to you. In fact, the message you heard today was just half of a 1-hour message that I just taught here at Faithful Word Assembly. I'd like to send you the entire message absolutely free. I'll send it to you on cassette tape or CD. All you have to do to get your copy is call us here at the church office and ask for it. Our number is 504-441-6222. When you call, ask for the message titled, Pitching Your Tent Towards Sodom. Be sure to specify whether you would prefer to have it on cassette or CD. Either way, it's our gift to you. I'd also like to invite you to come and worship with us this week right here at Faithful Word Assembly. We're located at 1401 Joe Yenny Boulevard in Kenner. Our services begin at 10:30 a.m. Sunday morning, 7 p.m. on Wednesday evenings. We'd love to have you join us for either service this week. In fact, you still have time to get stirring, have that last cup of coffee, and come join us for our worship service this morning at 10:30. We'd love to have you. Once again, I'm Pastor Rusty Tardo. Thanks for listening, and may God bless you. Until next time.
My prayer, oh Jesus, show me how to live. Give myself to you, Lord Jesus. I give myself to you.